over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a three or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man-to-man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say's a gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
Jeremy, what did you like yesterday? What did we do well? What did we do that wasn't pleasing to you? What
Loved
do you
a
got?
lot. Yeah, loved a lot. I did have a few moments in my head where I used Zagacki voice, just sort of listening in.
What a performance, by the way, from the Cody, from the duo of
Remarkable.
Greg and Chris yesterday. Give it up real quick. That was
Well done.
That was a performance.
I was thinking of just sitting a few plays out today, if I could.
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
You guys take this, and I'll just
Establish the run.
yeah.
Bring in the firefighter.
How was it when you got home?
Awkward in that I was like expecting. I walked in like, oh boy.
A lot of people were very worried about
Yes.
your marital status yesterday.
I telling you, I didn't think I could still pop. Like I still got it because
Yeah.
I saw multiple texts, people sending me screenshots of, Reddit posts of Cody collision course, like divorce, however the.
No, you
thing
got it right.
goes.
That's the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
It's rattled. Let's establish the run, bud.
Like I'm establish
Yeah,
the run.
yeah.
It was not a good day.
Well,
It
let's
was awkward.
establish or reestablish what happened. Chris Cody said that he sometimes fancies his wife's twin sister.
Well, maybe Jeremy has this on his list.
Sensually.
I would say you worded that differently than I did. I would just say
Little play
No, it's
action.
exactly.
we're
how
not
you
going to go
worded
back
it.
there. And I don't like that we're already here. And I
But
said I
the
didn't
twin
want
have a top
sister,
five.
the twin sister's married to a firefighter. That's why I'm calling for a series of physical competitions between you and the firefighter.
What's with your obsession with the physical competition you want us to all go through?
Because that's how you settle hash. Now and forever. Way back 1,000 years ago, nay, 1,000,000 years ago, things were settled in physical competition. I say we continue that path.
I
Chris
have some
Cody v. the firefighter.
Moments that I loved from yesterday's show. Oh, will I? When our female coworker asked for locations for the honeymoon, Greg's inner monologue said, "The butt."
Proud of that one.
Oh man, do you guys remember
Greg was on one yesterday.
number 5? Whatever that accent was that Amin did during the Austin River story.
That's a fair observation.
Which accent?
I really loved when Greg was giving advice to that young woman about bringing a partner to appease the mom, that he just went for the good old assumption of it's definitely a boyfriend, only boyfriends. There was a quote, "He is the only one that is allowed to admit his sister-in-law is hot."
First of all, you guys are taking this and running with that. I'm not attracted to her. I didn't say that.
Why wouldn't you be attracted to
That's
her?
true. I mean, she looks the same as my wife. I'm just saying. I don't
Not
want
what
to
you
play this
said.
game. I don't want to play
That's
this
not
game.
what you said. You said
I-
when you're struggling in the sack, you envision her.
Relax.
I feel like that's
It's a direct quote. I really like that one. Let's not go too early. Number 2, I like that it only took us 10 minutes to say, why can't we say redacted team name, only to say it 4 times.
That was you. That was you, Dave.
the
I
guys of
never
the-
said.
I
I
said
never
guys
said.
of the potato.
Actually, it was
it's a potato. A
You're
redskin
gaslighting.
potato.
And I really loved when Chris said he wants to fuck his wife's sister.
Didn't say that.
So aggressive. Excellent job. So all right, I gotta do share and tell now. All right, I had a.
One up it. See
I
if you
remember
can beat
my
Chris Cody's story.
Well, it's not going to beat that, but I have dreams. Okay, I remember my dreams. Do you always remember? Well, you wouldn't know if you always remember, because if you don't remember, then you wouldn't remember. But
True.
do you remember dreams?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Is there anyone here that doesn't remember dreams? Like, you straight up never remember
Very
your dreams?
very rare for me to remember to dream.
Really? That's a shame, man.
I know, because when I do, I'm like, that's fun.
Dreams are awesome.
I want to do that more.
They're movies that you star in.
I remember the lucid dreams, where you take control of your dream.
I have that every now and then.
I don't
Those
get
are good
those.
dreams.
I don't get those.
Really?
I had a dream
You're not in
last night.
control?
I had a dream last night. I got arrested for a DUI. I wasn't even driving. I was literally in the back of a pickup truck, and the cop stops the car and makes me get out and do the field sobriety test. And I couldn't hear, and I said, I'm sorry. He asked me to do something. I said, can you repeat that? And he says, oh, this guy, you want to run that game with me? I'm like, no, I don't know what you asked me to do. And then at some point, like, I begin to convince myself, oh, no, this is a sign that you're drunk, because you can't hear anything. Clearly, you're so drunk you can't even focus. Then I was like, wait a second, I'm not even driving. And then he cuffed me.
Wow. Cucked you?
Cuffed me.
Ah, okay.
Not a cuck.
Those are your dreams.
So I had a dream a couple of nights ago. And, like, do you ever have, for the married fellas here, which is almost everyone,
For now.
do you ever have a dream where your wife, let's say your wife, she was cheating on you? Okay, this happened to me in one dream. I don't know if I told you guys that. And you wake up and you're mad at your wife, even though she didn't do anything wrong. It was your dream. Do you ever do that where, like, you're upset with her about something she did in your dream? Does that ever happen to you?
That's not happened to me now.
Oh, that happens.
The reverse has happened to me before.
Well, obviously, all women love to play that game, all right? They're upset with us in
am
the
I
morning.
right?
I didn't do anything. It was your dream.
I'm sleeping here.
You say women love to play that game. You just said you're playing that game.
I know.
Makes you a woman.
I'm allowed to hold her to a double standard. So
Wait, she is the ne'er-do-well in the situation that you just dreamt on.
what does that
right?
word mean?
She was stepping out.
Well, not in this dream that I'm about to explain. But
Oh, okay, that's
that
what I'm
has
sorry, I'm
happened
just-
before.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So anyway, in this dream that I had, all right, I was having an affair in my dream, all right? Not bad, not bad. Whatever, get some strange in your dream.
My sister-in-law?
It's not real, okay? And I'm having an affair in my dream, and I get caught, all right? I get caught. Like, I pulled up, like at a mall or something. We were going somewhere in a mall. We were going on a date. I don't know. I don't have all the specifics for you. And when we get out of the car, I get caught, all right, with the girl, all right? But I don't get caught by my wife. I get caught by my ESPN radio co-host, Amber Wilson. She catches me, all right?
So you're good.
For some reason, yeah, she won't tell. She's ride or die. She won't tell.
Bro code.
And so she catches us, like, she was like outside the car, when we get out of the car. But I'm like, oh shit, I just got caught. So I have to introduce, my lady friend to Amber, okay? And so I introduce her. I go, Amber, this is Jennifer, okay? And she goes, Jennifer Lopez?
Wow.
I was having an affair with Jennifer Lopez. I mean, how about that?
So wait, you were in the car with Jennifer Lopez driving around in your car.
I was having an affair with Jennifer Lopez. I was driving. Yes, we were going somewhere.
He was in your car.
Yeah.
Just
Incognito. You're not going to ride around
Town
with
Square
her. That's
Mall
a-
or wherever it is that
yeah.
you live.
Paparazzi would know. That's J-Lo in her SUV with her driver. No.
Nope.
She's keeping it on the down low.
I once had a dream that I was dating Jennifer Lopez.
Is that right?
But we were riding in the back of a limo, though.
No.
You guys park your car in the same garage.
So, yes, that was my affair with Jennifer. She looked great, by the way.
Means taking a run at your ladies, Aslo. I mean, how's that make you feel?
I had her
That
first,
ain't
man.
cool.
This is like 2003.
Oh, no.
How about that? Now, I don't have any other details.
You and Puff.
But I'm just saying,
I
So,
was playing with fire.
so that was a good dream right there, all right? We woke up feeling good that day.
That's a dream, the waking nightmare that is Chris Cody's life. Are you it? So there's another man out there, a firefighter, who's basically making sweet love to your wife.
How did this
Essentially,
get back
she's
to
the
me?
exact. Well, because they're twins after all.
You're gonna
so
say
do you have
firefighter a
weird
lot today.
feelings? Do you have weird feelings towards the firefighter? You
No,
know?
him and I actually spoke last night at bowling. He's the only person I like.
Do
me
you
and him talked about
appreciate each other? We have the same taste, man. We park our cars in the same garage, but it's a little too close to home, right?
I mean, what do you want from me? Yes, me and him, we know that we have we're both married to twins. I'm rattled.
Did
dude.
he know what took place yesterday on this show?
No, he had I said to him when I got to bowling, like, anyone send you the show today? Because usually he hears things I say more than my wife, and he had not heard it. Oddly enough.
How could he have not heard it?
But then
You
I
would have thought,
told him.
what if his like firefighter buddies were, hey, your brother-in-law, he's been thinking about some things.
And then I found myself in a spot where I then had to tell him what I said because he's like,
Oh
"Why are
my
you
God.
asking?" So I told him. I'm telling you, this is
What'd
not
he
that
say?
like he laughed.
That's
way
my
to be
line, but I'll
proactive.
allow it.
Thank you.
He laughed. By the way, back to this. But AI says dreaming about Jennifer Lopez symbolizes a desire for fame, success, admiration, or a need to embrace one's own confidence.
Guess what happened to me, guys? I won a Pulitzer. Google's right. 20 years off, but right.
All
So
right, no more firefighter. You stop saying fighter fire.
I won't do it. You don't tell me. You're not the boss of me.
look at that. Look for the video audience there. That's me and my girl. That's my side piece right there.
I think the
Is there
greatest.
both driving?
There might be, if there's a better job
That's
than
how we drive.
playing
She sits on my lap
sports
when I drive her.
or talking about sports or dating J-Lo. If there's a better job than that, I think it is dream analysis because it's complete and utter unprovable garbage. You know what that means when you're falling. You know what it means when you're flying.
You know what
Says
it means
who?
when your
Says
teeth are
who?
shattering.
I've had those.
Who
The
knows
teeth
what?
shattering
You,
dreams. I've
you
had
don't
those.
know. Based on what? It has its own set of rules. It's its own consciousness. How do you have any idea? Well, I'll let me tell you what it means when you can't get up. Like, you don't know anything. Well, there's no meaning whatsoever. It's a phony science.
There's a couple things happen that when you can't get up. We could talk about that another day, Dave.
You think about your
Think about the
sister-in-law.
firefighter.
Tony, I have several recurring dreams. They don't happen all the time, but I have a few recurring dreams these days, and one of them is my teeth are crumbling, are shattering.
Yeah, I've had those back in the day. Maybe like 10 years ago, I used to have those every night where I would bite into something and all my teeth would fall out. And then I was like, what is this? And then one day they stopped.
And I know people are like, oh, that means this when your teeth.
Anxiety.
Chris is Googling it right now.
Yeah,
anxiety.
but I don't know. I mean, I told you I used
It's
to
because
get,
you take the emotions and shove them down right here. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Like
how
a
they
real
come out.
man.
That's
Yeah.
where they belong.
Right,
to
but that's why
never come
both of
out
you have
again.
these teeth shattering dreams.
But then they stopped.
You guys get emotions like a 14-year-old?
I don't. I shove them
Dude,
down.
sick reference, bro. You always have the best
Crumbling
references.
teeth can symbolize our fear that our life is falling apart.
Yeah,
Oh,
but like
no.
my life's not falling apart. I'm very happy.
Been a rough couple of heat seasons.
I have that recurring dream of teeth shattering. I also have a recurring dream of I'm back in school. And I don't know why I'm back in school because I have a job.
As a grown man?
Yeah, and I have this job. So why would I be back in school? I make a great
Like
living.
Billy Madison?
No, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just like I'm in and in this school setting, I'm my age and everyone else is proper age.
Wait,
so it's like
college or high school?
sometimes it's high school.
So it is Billy Madison.
It's exactly, but he's not trying to prove anything.
Yeah, like I'm not being put through a
He's
test.
just doing it electively.
Yeah. But I don't understand why I'm here because I don't need to graduate. I have a great job.
That is my most recurring one. I think is school, and it's the last day of the semester, and I did not go to class all semester long, and now it's the big test, and I'm like, well, there's just no way I can pass this class, and I'm panicked about that, and I'm like, oh yes, this reflects your actual time in school, Dave. Yeah, it's just remembering
It's, like
basically.
it's not a dream so much of it's a memory.
just recalling some of the past decades.
And I have another recurring dream these days as well. And this one probably has meaning to it, but it's one of those where I'm missing work. I overslept or for whatever reason I'm late and I'm missing the show. That probably has, because that's probably like a real fear that I have deep down. Again, probably with all the other emotions and feelings I have that are stuffed way down inside to never be heard or seen from
Your
again.
hand is gesturing way too closely to your genitals while you're saying
That's
that.
where you
all
put
my
all the
problems
emotions.
are down here.
That's
My
where you
emotions.
put the emotions.
That's what Dana White told us to do.
Put
on his
them all
recent
down there.
apolitical appearance on Katie Miller's podcast. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month.
So
I have a waking nightmare I can share very quickly too.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about watching the NBA playoffs; those are just more boring. Hey, did you notice another blowout? Wow, what a stunner! Hey, the Knickerbockers were fairly close, even though no one in MSG or watching on TV thought that the Sixers were actually maybe going to win.
game
that
was
game.
tied.
I'm going to call it. Get out the chickens. This guy's a fraud. There's no chance you stayed up for the late game. You looked it up today. Oh, it's a blowout. I didn't miss much. You just watched the next game and this game was great.
fan.
You didn't even look up this first game.
He can't even shoot a basketball.
You had no idea.
He probably misses all of his shots. He's probably terrible. He's the last pick in his pickup game.
You don't even know how to use the
They
internet.
blow by you,
read
don't
the
they?
newspaper. You bought the
You have an old man
You
game.
slipped to the sports section, and then in the box scores, you read the box scores.
You suck at basketball.
It was a big blowout. I'll use that for my material today.
A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of geese. Now listen.
Chicken.
Those weren't good. But then I turned my TV off before the end of the late game. You're absolutely right. But when I did it, it took me a few extra seconds more than it rightly should have because I went for the remote in my hotel room and I hit the top button. On the remote, there is one button, singular, separated from all the other buttons underneath. That's the on-off button, right? I mean, that's obviously the North Star of any remote, turning it on and turning it off. So I do that, and I was reminded as I did it, oh no, for some reason, this remote control's top button, the single one at the top of the remote mountain, is not the on-off button. It controls some other function that I have no goddamn interest in figuring out what it is. No, the on-off button is down to the left at an angle, catty corner, from the North Star button. I have to go scrounge around and figure, this is the on-off button to say my good nights, to find the cloak of darkness so that I can prepare myself in terms of rest, so that I can be at my best to hear about Chris Cody talking about how he wants to make his love on his wife's twin sister. Now you think I'm in a bad mood for a reason? NBA, remote, Chris Cody doing whatever the hell he's doing. We're off the rails.
Stop talking about that.
The Knicks-Sixers game was great.
That was a good game.
It was a great game. It was a great game. The Dominic Barlow, how about that? Revelation.
That was a good game, man.
It's a great game. It's a great game.
What do we make of the Sixers without Embiid?
Well, here's the deal. They played a style that was a lot more competitive, obviously, in game one. But I believe, Tony, back me up on this one, they got tired down the stretch. They kind of needed the big fella to just throw the ball to so we could all catch our breath.
Let him work a little bit in the post.
Yeah.
Let him get a lot of the offense, moving in and out. It was tough.
Is it a fair criticism to say they would also get tired with Joel Embiid because he labors up and down the court these days?
Yeah, but the laboring gives everyone a chance.
It
to
slows
catch
the
their
pace
breath,
down
man.
almost.
They played fast as a result, and that was great. They're
When
talented.
the pace slows, he's best equipped for that, and they're better at the
And that
slower
usually
pace.
happens in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And
halfway through the first.
Man, he is tough to watch getting up and down the floor these days.
yeah, the lack of depth really hurt them. Like they couldn't go. That's why Barlow was such a great revelation in the second half there that Nick Nurse turns to, and he does great on both ends of the ball. But then he got tired because he didn't sub him out. Like, because it was working, so he just kept going on with him. I think Nick Nurse, if he had to do it all over again, maybe freshen up the rotation a little bit more. But, again, it's tough in terms of the guards. They don't have much.
So I brought this up before, and Amin yells at me when I do bring this up. I'm going to bring it up again. I would assume Joel Embiid is going to play Game 3. All right?
Day to day.
I would assume he's going to play Game 3. And by the way, going into this series, like the biggest reason that the Sixers are not going to win is because you can't count on Embiid to play an entire series. He didn't play an entire series in round 1, and he already hasn't played an entire series in round 2. Like that, it's why they're never going to be able to win with him. But the part where Amin always gets mad at me when I bring this up is when Embiid is available, and maybe he's not even 100% like now when he couldn't play last game. Why play him in the first quarter? Why play him in the first quarter so he can, instead of be laboring in the fourth quarter when the game slows down, when you probably could have used him yesterday for a fresher player and a basket in the post? why does Embiid play in the first quarter? I'm not even necessarily saying only play in the second half, which is when Embiid really gets mad at me. But what if you just start playing him in the second quarter?
I think there's a couple of things. Number one, this argument where I yelled at you is because you suggested this as a form of load management, and that's ridiculous. But this is different. This is the case of like, hey, he's only got so much for a particular game. Last night, I'm just assuming he couldn't play at all. The problem is you're assuming it's like a video game where I can just sub him in and he'll be Joel Embiid, and like guys need the rhythm to get into the game, particularly guys who are
He's pretty great in the first quarter of games. So when you say rhythm getting into the game,
but that's because everyone's starting. It's like trying to get on a train that's slowly moving versus a full-blown, the train is moving, I got to run and jump on, right? That's number one. Number two, especially the guy who's dealing with injuries and stuff and trying to play through it, and if he's accustomed to being a starter, I told the story before about Grant Hill. You're used to warming up and then let's go play basketball versus warming up and then, all right, now have a seat.
I mean, we're watching Anthony Edwards do it these first two games with, the Wolves and Spurs.
One of the most freak athletes we've ever seen, though, right? Like, that's not the body of Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid can't sit for 45 real minutes and then be like, all right, buddy, get back out there.
And also, Anthony Edwards last night, not quite as cool as he looked in game one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I wouldn't point to that as like, oh, that's how you do it. I think ultimately it's like, is the guy healthy or not? That's what it comes down to. And Joel Embiid, this is why, it's a fair criticism in terms of, like, I can't count on him, but I don't like when people turn it into, like, he doesn't want to play or he's soft or that. That's where it gets
playoffs.
ridiculous.
He definitely wants
to play. He wants to be out there. If he could, he would. And he's just dealing with a lot. The guy's just unlucky.
I mean, is it Nick Nurse saving him for later on in the series? Because when you take Joel out and he's like, all right, he can't play. If it was game 6 or 7, he would have pushed it. But, like, what's the other option?
I mean, the other option obviously is to play him in some sort of limited role to slow down, to get these things going. But it's like, it's tough, man. Like, if the guy can't go, and again, he's dealing with 2 injuries. It's an ankle and a hip. This is besides the appendectomy that kept him out for the beginning of the playoffs, too.
In game 7, they were stretching out his midsection.
He said he was trolling. He claimed it was nothing. I was just doing that to troll them. But I don't know.
But he was like favoring
We're in the
him.
middle of game 7. He's like, how can I trick everyone
doing
right
a
now?
bit?
That's what he said. He said he was doing a bit.
He came out with an ice pack. He went into the locker room.
He said he was doing a bit.
AJ
I'm not saying
Brown-
I believe him. I'm just saying that's how he explained what was going on there.
Game 7, famous stage for bits.
AJ Brown read a book during what was it, the title game? So it's not unheralded for guys to do bits in the middle of big games. I mean, though, as a thought experiment off of what Zaz just brought up, a more extreme version of bringing Embiid in for just certain quarters of games. What happens? Who's it tougher on? The Sixers, obviously, their best player, you would think nominally or maybe not. The adjustment of how you play with Embiid versus without. In a way, I could see the Sixers feeling good during the game and then even after the game last night, because game 3, to Zaz's point, now Embiid's going to be back. But it's such an adjustment. It's almost like, the Pittsburgh Pirates with Paul Skeens on the mound, and then you're playing the Pirates without Paul Skeens on the mound. It's 2 completely different approaches.
I would say yes, except for the fact they have a lot of experience doing it, right? Over the last several years.
I'm saying, so is it easier on the Sixers, and then it's a different – the
Would
Knickerbockers are now in a tough spot. Like, well, now we don't know if Embiid, if we're going to have to play this kind of game versus without him.
Well, I think
out
that's
there.
what happened last night, right?
Yeah, it obviously changed a lot. And then also the Knicks didn't have Mitchell Robinson. He was out sick. OG Anunoby might be hurt too. So there's other things happening in this series. But to answer your question, Dave, the Celtics very loudly and famously proudly said, we don't have to make any adjustments. They did not factor in that Embiid would come back. And then he came back, and they literally had 0 answers. Oh, no, they had an answer. Let's start Luka Garza, Baylor Shireman, and Ron Harper Jr. in Game 7. That was their answer. But, yeah, so
coach.
It's a bad coach. For a team that is playing against a team that may or may not have its focal
But that's
point.
right. So that kind of proves that point.
It's
the
it is
unforced error the Celtics got because they're like, well, we don't know what we're going to do with this. It got in their head, and it ultimately cost them the series. You have said that repeatedly this week, and I think it's a valid point. They adjusted their lineup unnecessarily because of Embiid's presence or absence.
Well, I would say they adjusted their lineup stupidly, maybe not unnecessarily. Right. And I think there were different ways to go about it than the way they went about it. But that was also in reaction to not adjusting for the prior 2 games where he was playing and getting better and eating them up, and they had no answers. So I think it can be difficult, but also because the Sixers have played a lot without Embiid, there is tape. We do know how they want to play. We know they want to play faster, and we know they want to play through Maxey and Edgecombe. But then here's the wild card, really. It's Paul George. Yeah. Paul George, if they had won that game last night, Paul George probably would have been man of the match, right? Because offensively, he was incredible shooting from deep.
Good shot selection with 30 seconds
left.
Well,
other than that one, playoff P strikes again.
Come on.
Get that medicine
Who was
ready.
it that was it Edgecombe that was or who was yelling at him about the shots? One of the other players what are you doing?
I can't remember. It might have been Kelly Oubre, but I don't remember. But the other part was defensively, right? When they had the foul trouble with Adam Bona, with Andre Drummond, and Barlow is, bless his heart, but he's playing like 700 minutes in a row. He's getting tired. They put Paul George on Karl Anthony Towns, and that kind of really mucked up the Knicks offense a lot. Because what Towns had been able to do to take advantage of was, if you're smaller than me, I'll post you up. If you're bigger than me, you try to close out, I can get past you and I can make plays. And Paul George is a pretty big dude, even though we don't think of him that way, but also obviously an elite perimeter defender. So he did an amazing job. If it weren't for the fact that they lost that game, we'd be talking about Paul George today. And that's the one that's hard to game plan against, because remember, he missed 25 games this year due to suspension for PED use.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, it's an absolute. It's the best thing that happened to the Sixers all year long.
I mean, is that a note for Nick Nurse and defensively? All right, maybe what we can do to muck up the game and to force a different look on the Knicks is put Paul George on Cat almost full time?
I think the best thing is to just keep mixing it up. And Nick Nurse is a genius at that, of throwing different defenses. He's done this in the past with Toronto, where most teams have a base defense, hey, we're going to guard pick and rolls high like this, on the side like this, whatever. And Nick Nurse will have all these custom-made defenses in a regular season setting that usually doesn't happen. So if there's anyone in the league who I can think of coming up with some shit on the fly, it's him. But I don't think it's hey, we're just going to guard you with this guy continuously.
With Paul George having this level of success, it gives me an idea. Should Kawhi Leonard or other players who need to limit themselves until the postseason purposefully take banned substances to get suspended? So instead of it being an issue with tanking games
it's not bad.
Or with sitting out
He
games.
lost $12 million though.
Yeah. So
he's fine.
Yeah,
but
so there's a couple of things. Number one, you lose your paychecks. For
have some whimsy.
Number one. Number two, and this is the big one here, right? Paul George could do that because he's legitimately the third or fourth most important player on this team, even though, as we see, he's very talented.
Yeah, but those guys are missing games anyway. Why not just give them a run where they can learn how to do it? By the way, just in case you miss time in the playoffs, just like the Sixers, right? In Paul George's case, he is healthy right now, but who was to say he would be? So if Embiid, for example, had missed a 25-game run, but it was because of a suspension, they
Jeremy,
could control...
he might be healthy right now because of the banned substances too.
They
help for recovery.
Maybe
that's not what he took. He took some over the counter or whatever.
Have some whimsy.
Have whimsy.
So I don't know if you guys saw this. The owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, Jimmy Haslam, right, who also owns the Cleveland Browns, he talked yesterday, and I thought it was dead giveaway about what the Milwaukee Bucks plan is here with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Give this a listen.
I just think before the draft is a natural time, right? Because you're going to, if Giannis does play somewhere else, then we ought to get a lot of assets, and that's John's job to do it. If he's here, then you build the team differently. So I just want to stress, though, that our relationship with him, despite what is reported by certain ESPN writers, is very positive.
Is this a decision that keeps you up at night?
It's a big one. It's a big one, and you got to get it right. And John knows it, and Wes knows it. And we didn't hold back with Taylor. We just said, listen, he may or may not be with us, so don't come because of that, because you want to be straight up.
So this is now the second time that there's been a reference like this. The first one was, that we will, we're not going to lose Giannis for nothing, and we're going to offer him the max, and if he doesn't accept it, then we're going to trade him. That was said, it was like a month and a half ago, something like that. And you don't normally hear someone speak that way about your star player. And now you have this where the owner is telling you there's going to be a resolution one way or another before the draft, specifically because you want to get assets if you are going to trade the player. But if you want, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you want a resolution, the only resolution is trading him. Because even if you offer him this extension and he signs it, that's not a resolution. That doesn't stop anything. That doesn't stop Giannis from 6 months from now. I don't like what's happening here. I want to trade. Like, the only resolution that he's talking about is being out of the Giannis business. Wrong?
Yeah, I think he's trying to say all the right things. That's the problem. Everyone's trying to say the right thing. Giannis is trying to say the right thing. Jimmy Haslam, which is the first time I ever heard his voice, and I did not know that he had that thick of a twang, is trying to say the right things. And
can you imagine that guy asking a homeless person for advice on the quarterback?
What would you do at quarterback? What?
It's very clear that he's going to be traded before the deadline.
This is the first time
before the draft, excuse me.
It's the first time we really hear anything like this.
Yeah.
On the heels of the Jaylen Brown conversation and stream, where it's like, could Jaylen Brown be had? And all of a sudden,
you're connecting dots.
Somebody in the Milwaukee Bucks was like, all right, wait a second, hold up.
That's my gimmick.
If he's available or he wants to get moved, we can make something happen here where we can send some picks here, we can take some picks from over there, we can get Jaylen Brown and not really lose as much face to the fans getting another all-star player in Milwaukee.
Connecting dots.
I think that
my gimmick.
That makes a lot of sense. It's nice and clean. The thing that Amin and Nick Wright and everybody in here was talking about yesterday that I think is pretty intriguing as another thought experiment is from the Celtics' point of view, from the Bucks' point of view, what makes sense? It really does as you add it up. Jaylen Brown with this is my favorite season ever and all of that kind of talk, it does kind of indicate, and even though they won a title, people still say you're doubling down at the same position. There's redundancy there. Maybe it does make better sense to pair Giannis with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, but what's the right answer there? If you're Brad Stevens, first of all, start from that point of view. Which way are you going? Are you trading Jason Tatum and getting Giannis to play with Jaylen Brown? Indulge what Zaz is getting at here, that maybe you would trade for one of those two Celtics, which is the correct play here for both sides.
Well, I would start with, obviously, it goes with health. What's Jason Tatum looking like? Yes, I get it. He came back and he played, and he missed the last game because of whatever. But, overall, what does my medical team say? He's on the road to recovery. He'll be fine. If that's what we're going with, then I think I'd go with Tatum for a couple reasons. Number one, Tatum, better perimeter shooter, better suited basketball-wise to fit alongside Giannis, who's very paint-dominated, right? Number two, also disposition-wise. Again, what we've learned from Jaylen Brown is, hey, I really like being the number one banana, right? And Giannis might come in and say, hey, I'm just here to help. But the reality is he's such a dominant personality and dominant basketball force, it's almost impossible to marginalize him in favor of someone playing on the perimeter. So maybe personality fit, desire fit, Tatum also beats over there. And then number three is, even if I know that Tatum is fine, the trade market might be like, wait a second, this guy's come back from an Achilles. He missed games in the playoffs. I'm not trying to give up market value for that guy, even though there's a good chance in 6 months he'll be fine. Brown is the guy who's coming off of a career year. Brown is the guy who's healthy. Brown is the guy who's probably at this stage right now is going to net the biggest haul because, as I think Tony was talking about yesterday, the reality is it probably won't be Brown to Milwaukee. It'll be Brown somewhere else.
Oh, really?
And then Milwaukee gets a bunch of young players and picks and gets to start over.
Atlanta makes so much sense.
Yep.
Why do you say Brown wouldn't go to Milwaukee because it wouldn't make sense because Milwaukee's trying to rebuild, or because Jaylen Brown would be like, I don't want to go here?
Let me put it this way. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks, right? As is. Now give them Giannis Antetokounmpo. What were they? A 500 team.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Right? So now give them Jaylen Brown, who I think we can all agree, career year or not as good as Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Right. I feel like just from a marketing standpoint, that'd be like we gave away this guy who felt like the best player in the league, or in fact was the best player in the league. Jaylen Brown, great. I feel underwhelmed if I'm a Bucks fan if it broke that way.
It would be the best player that they could get back in any one of these prospective deals. But having said that, like it'd probably come with picks. It wouldn't be just one for one.
But compared to Giannis, I agree with Dave.
Sure, no, absolutely, everyone does. But again, if you're saying Giannis is gone, and they went from, I guess, Tyler Hero and 3 picks to, wait, we got Jaylen Brown and a couple of picks?
It's a huge win for them.
That's a huge win for Milwaukee. Having said that, realistically, that does not move the needle for where they are as a franchise, as far as winning and losing.
Might just make them a middling team still.
Right.
Like, if you are them, like, I don't know if it was someone in here who brought it up yesterday, but the idea of getting Jaylen Brown to Atlanta and getting a top pick back and potentially other young pieces and future picks so that you can bottom out, that might be the way to go about it, so that way you're working Atlanta into being a better team. You can hit bottom at a time where you don't have your star rather than acquiring another one. But from a ticket sales perspective and from a competitive standpoint, bringing in Jaylen Brown and being able to build around whatever he is obviously a better starting point than the unknown.
Yeah, I mean, put differently, if you look at their roster, who do you have to be optimistic about? Like
Who's
that
they?
guy,
Milwaukee?
Milwaukee. That guy could really become something one day.
The Rollins kid, right? Like that's it.
Looks like he's going to be a decent NBA player. That's what he looks like.
And the clip that we just played of Jimmy Haslam sounded like somebody that wanted to asset build.
Yeah.
Not. All right, let's just replace Giannis with Jaylen Brown.
I hear what you're saying, Amin, about like you must understand, you must live in the world as it exists, not the one you want. And so if you're a Bucks fan, you wish it would work out with Giannis, but it feels like it's not going to. That said, it's terrible to trade a generational talent. You know, I keep talking about it this week, and off of the comments of the Edmonton Oilers as they lose this series and their 2 stars, Connor McJesus and Leon Draisaitl, feels like that's tracking in the wrong direction too. The obstacle is, if you're on Edmonton's side, or even if you're just an objective hockey fan, like, we can't trade that guy. Can't trade one of the 5 best players in history, except that the Edmonton Oilers already traded the alleged best player of all time in Wayne Gretzky. You guys in Miami love your stars. You go and get Messi, even though he's past his prime. You have LeBron, and I suspect that is the reason you have a lot of the conflicting emotions you have. He came here in his prime and delivered you guys some titles, but then he bailed on you guys. It's interesting letting the guy, he's in your house and you're letting him go. In fact, you're paying his taxi fare to leave. It's a weird move.
Sounds like what Chris is willing to do with his wife.
The press box has changed.
But Mike said it best. The press box has changed. I mean, seriously, get over yourself. We're going to talk during the post game. Tim Reynolds, enough. I mean, enough.
I mean,
seriously.
you just got to know when
You're
the
not
Dan
allowed to cheer in the press box. Did you know that?
Well, I did.
They were cheering for Will Manso. I think that's allowed.
And Goldie.
If the Dan Le Batard Show comes to a hockey press box, hilarity is going to ensue.
Yeah.
They're going to yell at Will Manso for 7 minutes, and you're probably going to have to go to a stairwell to write, man. Like, it's just...
if it was 7 minutes, I'd get it.
It
was
is what
7
it is.
seconds.
Exactly. I mean, David, everyone else was saying hi. They were enjoying the show. They were laughing at us. But one guy is still clutching on to his newspaper deadline.
I'm a little
and it's
disappointed.
Tim Reynolds.
And is he your demographics, too?
I don't know.
I happen to like Tim a lot, and
Enough of him.
I imagine this was going to be like E.J. Raddick or something, but that's just a bad look for Tim Reynolds.
Listen, I went up to him afterwards.
This was the best part. Stugotz is like, I've known Tim for years. I'm going to go fix this. He walked to Tim and walked right back very quickly.
Yep.
It was a very quick interaction.
Well, he was writing. Okay?
He's on deadline. It's
enough of the deadline.
It's a work.
Don't defend him.
I gotta get home. I feel like playoff hockey. I gotta get home. I mean,
yeah, we're on deadline too. We got to get that post game out.
It is a working press box. Tim Reynolds is a journalist who's trying to write, and Stugotz is back there. Hey, Will Manson!
That was Chris and Goldie. Don't leave out Goldie.
We're on deadline too. They're going to kick us out of that press box a lot sooner than they'll kick out Tim Reynolds, who's just typing away. That's just
Those writers had their game stories done before the end of the
Precisely.
game.
Yeah, a good writer, right?
Oh,
what happened there? I apologize to him. I've known Tim for decades. I mean, Cody was done. He was out of there. I mean, you know.
What was that interaction like, Stugotz? Take us behind the scenes. You walk up to him, you say what, he says what?
I said, Tim, I apologize. That's on me. I should know better. Not Chris, okay? I should know better. I've been in press boxes before. I know you have a deadline. I apologize. And he said, that's fine. Just, try to keep it down.
That is way too long.
That was
way
much longer than the actual conversation.
I always extend it a little bit.
Can we
know
call Tim Reynolds and just ask him about what the interaction was like?
No.
Greg Cody's back in my day. Seeds.
Seeds. Seeds. Had a slice of watermelon lately? Popped a few grapes in your maw? Then you probably notice seeds are disappearing from fruit. And you probably see this as a good thing just because it makes life a little easier. We love us some convenience. In fact, it's a terrible thing, the de-seeding of us. Symbolically alone, the seed is the king of life. Adam gave his to Eve, and here we are, if you believe the story. If they take the seed out of humans the way we have watermelons, we're all dead ducks. Beans, peas, rice, coffee, corn, all seeds. Flour and oil started as seeds. All hail seeds. So what the hell is happening?
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by firefighters. DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
So I'm very excited for this weekend, Dave Damashek. I am I'm going to Orlando and Tampa because I have to take my older son and his friends to Rolling Loud, all right, which is at Camping World Stadium.
Are you going to be at Rolling Loud?
No.
What is that?
I'm not going. It's like the biggest hip hop festival, right?
It's a massive hip hop festival concert that happens sometimes down here.
It used to be down here.
No, they stopped
moved
doing
it, right?
here. They moved it. Yeah. By the way, what's the loud stand? Is that like because the music is really loud?
Probably.
Okay, and you're rolling because we're all rolling to Orlando for the loud concert.
Pungent.
So I got to take my son and his friends. I'm dropping them off. They're doing Rolling Loud the entire weekend in Orlando, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My son loves rap music, all right? And
Arab fighters.
Oh, loves the Arab fighters.
Big one today for the Arab fighters on Saturday.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I'm dropping them off there, and me and my other son.
Big one today on Saturday?
Big one, Saturday.
My younger son and I are going to Tampa for WWE this weekend, this Saturday night. We're going to WWE pay-per-view, all right? Backlash. Backlash. So I'm very excited for this weekend. But I don't know if I'm as excited as Mike Ryan is for this weekend.
I mean, it's a big day tomorrow.
Well, tonight. I mean, it's out tonight.
Tonight is a big day. Tonight is a big day for Saturday. And Friday. No. Tonight. I'm making fun of you, pal.
I'm not listening. I'm looking at the Rolling Loud.
NBA Youngboy, yeah.
You a big Playboy Cardi guy?
My son loves Playboy Cardi. Remember, I came in here wearing a Playboy Cardi shirt after the concert.
Yeah.
Zaz, today is Mortal Kombat 2 night.
Yep.
And got the 40X seats. Going to take the white shirt, red wine challenge and see if I can keep that white shirt clean the entire time. And I feel bad for whoever's sitting behind me because I'm going to be wearing the Raiden hat too. All right? I am so pumped for this movie. I have watched all the Mortal Kombat movies, skipped over Annihilation because I actually did an episode of Cynaphobe on Annihilation.
How many are there?
Like live-action films?
Yeah.
This would be the 4th.
Why is this one called Mortal Kombat 2 then?
Because it's the sequel to the 2021 Mortal Kombat, which
rebooted the
was a
franchise.
reboot of the franchise.
I see.
Did you know
Scorpio.
that the first ever platinum
Luke
dance record was
Sub-Zero.
the Mortal Kombat soundtrack?
Johnny Cage. Kano.
Let's see how long you could go.
We have apparently
Sonya
replaced
Blade.
the hero from the first film.
Oh,
This is
good.
now-
That's a good start.
Yeah, because Cole Young sucked.
Who's going to be the villain? Is it still Shang Tsung?
Shang Tsung is still there,
Okay.
but Shao Kahn appears to be like the big heavy in this one. And that follows proper Mortal Kombat lore.
Was that a spoiler you just gave with the main character thing?
No. He's in the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
But in this one, Johnny Cage is the
Johnny
star.
Cage. Have you seen the reviews for this thing?
No.
People like it.
You want me to look on Rotten Tomatoes?
IGN score is 8, which is great.
I don't care about that. I only
Last
care about
Rotten Tomatoes I saw was 70%. I saw a clip that they put
Media or audience?
out. 70% media.
Okay.
The audience score is going to be like 98% or something like that.
Yeah.
There's no audience score yet for Mortal Kombat 2 because it's just coming out tonight. But the media score is 73%, which I would say for a movie like this is very high.
Strong.
This should have came out last week. We should have had Combat Wears Prada or something. Devil Wears Combat.
Oh, like Barbenheimer?
Yeah, where the husband and wives, they just split up. And the boys watch Mortal Kombat, and Zaz can go follow his wife and watch Devil Wears Prada too.
Can I?
I feel like
I'm
Mortal-
not embarrassed. Okay, you could say it many times you
I
want. I'm
wouldn't
not
be embarrassed. Look, I like Devil Wears Prada. In fact, if there were an incarnation where Miranda Priestley was a DLC for a Mortal Kombat video game, she'd be deadly.
What about Devil Wears Nada?
I like part 2 better.
Did they make a sequel?
Did you see the clip that they put out? They put out basically like a 4-minute chunk of a fight scene
Looks
between
good.
Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Now, if you remember, in the first film, Kung Lao dies.
How's he alive?
Quan Chi.
It's
Quan
Mortal
Chi
Kombat,
is a
man.
character in Mortal Kombat 2, and what Quan Chi does is he raises people from the dead. So
Like Pet Cemetery style?
but now they're evil. Like, and you can tell.
Right,
he's
that's
a-
Pet Sematary.
Yeah, yeah. You can tell Kung Lao is evil because he's got like a little black stuff around his eye, and so like he's fighting.
So you going with the
his-
whole crew tonight?
Yeah, like 8 of us. We got the movable chairs. I'll hold on to my Raiden hat, and we're
I'm
gonna.
telling
have
you,
a
I
great
almost
time.
fell off. All right, the
I'm
one
not,
time I went.
I don't know why you guys like this, man.
I want to feel every punch.
I don't want my movie-going experience to have to involve other senses than my eyes and my ears.
I don't
I
like
don't
it
need
either.
wind. I don't need rain
We
coming
talked
down on
this
me.
out.
I don't need.
I know what I'm getting into. We talked this out. Rain is not in this movie. Maybe Mortal Kombat 3.
I'm not trying to shake while I'm eating my popcorn and Bunch of Crunch.
What about fire? Will there be fire?
Fire's not a character. Smoke.
No,
I
but
don't know if
coming
he
out of the
shows up.
seats, will there be fire?
There's
Are you-
sometimes like mist.
Is it because you're a Pulitzer winner now? I mean, that you're too classy to experience emotions and other senses beyond what you're looking at? What is it? You're too dignified to be rained on? What are you talking about? What is the bad side? Explain to me the negative of what if your movie going experience also involved delicious smells along the way. I mean, of course that would be better. That's an upgrade.
Well, Mr. Damashek, in my esteemed opinion, my humble esteemed opinion, I would say that the movie-going experience was created years ago to engage the intellectual portions of our brain, meaning that we are perceiving what we see and what we hear, and from there, let our synapses make those connections. When you start to involve the more base feelings of temperature, oh, it's cold, it's hot, and moisture, oh, something spit on me, or maybe that's just the theater. Now you're just distracting from the real artistry that's happening over there.
Says who?
Says a Pulitzer
Professor.
Prize winner.
Well, I hope someone's spine gets ripped out.
Are
clean.
these? I know the movie industry is in jeopardy, and that's why they should do everything they can to do things like this, forward-thinking.
It's $27
to create, to create different senses and everything else, and heighten the experience. Summertime used to be the summer movie season, the blockbusters.
It starts
and
in
all that.
May.
Right. It would start like late April, early May. Is this it? Is this what Hollywood has? This isn't the best that we're gonna get in summer.
No, Spider-Man's coming out soon, right?
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
this is-
I'm not clear. I'm not.
Are you talking about Devil Wears Prada 2?
I'm just saying, if Devil Wears Prada 2 and Mortal Kombat 2 are the two big hopes for Hollywood, consider me underwhelmed.
Really? I feel like that's delivering.
So, the way this works, let me explain Hollywood to you, Mr. Damashek. Typically, late April, early May signifies the start of blockbuster season. But the biggest blockbusters do not come at the front end. These are kind of the appetizers to get people ready for a summer of going to the movies, because that's a place where it's nice and air conditioned.
June and then I know also like the big end of the release schedule is July 4th-ish weekend. That's about through July. And then August, the big swings that didn't hit according to the execs are shelved and pushed to August and beyond. But Will Smith always made his hay in the 90s on July 4th.
July 4th weekend is the pinnacle.
And what's coming out?
I don't know.
Yeah, but then Marvel changed the math, and then the big tentpole Marvel would come out in May, and now they're doing, we'll see, everyone's sticking to their guns, Doomsday.
Doomsday is going to be a December release, and that's
the same weekend as Dune.
That's why I said Doomsday.
I didn't pick up on his enunciation. Maybe some elocution classes for you, Mr. Ryan.
So wait, Spider-Man? That's it? That's all we have left is Spider-Man
I've got a
this
list
summer?
here of the movies that are coming out over the next few weeks through the rest of the summer.
Okay,
so
what do you got?
Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu.
Okay,
on
that's excellent.
May 22nd.
Excellent.
Not as good as Mortal Kombat 2.
Then you'll have I Love Boosters, The Breadwinner.
I love Boosters.
That's
I
with the
don't.
girl
I love
from One
Fat
Battle
White
After
Face.
Another.
Then
like her.
Masters of the Universe, June 5th.
Oh, E-Man.
With Scary Movie.
Fat white face. Fat white face.
Then Disclosure Day, which is the Spielberg
that's
one.
right.
That's June 12th. That's going to be a big deal.
Wait till you see Spielberg's marketing budget when we have actual aliens invading.
The following weekend, you'll have Toy Story 5. Which is a big one.
You know who the villain is in Toy Story 5?
No.
The iPad.
Tablet time.
Ooh.
Wow. Right.
Oh, that's
everyone. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I'm looking at Amin's arms
Goosebumps
right now.
for real. That's a great storyline.
Yeah.
Jackass Best and Last will
I can't
be June
wait.
26th.
There's a
That's
new
going to be
Jackass
awesome.
movie?
I'm in on that.
Last.
I'm in on that.
Last. They have in the trailer a robot's going up someone's butt.
Dave, you're off base. This is a great
The
summer schedule.
Odyssey.
Oh yeah, how come
July.
they only run commercials every single day?
Come on,
Go
son.
on.
Can we get a new graphic designer for Christopher Nolan?
No.
You'll have Spider-Man at the end of July, and then, of course, at the beginning of August, Paw Patrol, the Dino movie.
I've had it with the Spider-Man storyline about he has to give up so much personally to save the world. All right, we've been down that road already. I do stand corrected. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong, like Jerry Orbach at the end of Dirty Dancing.
Even though he wasn't wrong.
That's a great lineup of movies. I think I still would rather see a documentary of Chris Cody v. the firefighter in athletic competition.
In November, you're getting a new Cat in the Hat and a new Hunger Games. That Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping, going to be incredible.
Nice. That's late November, right? Because
Late
now
November.
they're trying to build off that Christmas crowd. That's what we're building towards. That's also award season.
That's Bill Hader playing Cat in the Hat. Correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Baraka is in this one, and he fights Johnny Cage. From what I can
Obama?
tell from the trailer.
I won't watch it.
Sasha, Malia, I'll be right back.
I want to. You know what? I think I want to rewatch the Mortal Kombat movies before, because I am going to see this one, of course.
The 2021? I can catch you up.
No, I'd like to see that one again, and I don't remember the original ones at all. I mean, I definitely
just tell
saw
you.
them.
Shang Tsung is a bad guy in both 95 and 2021. In 2021, we don't actually get into Mortal Kombat. Shang Tsung is just cheating, skirting the rules, trying to kill all the would-be competitors in Mortal Kombat.
So are we going to have Mortal Kombat
Earthrealm
in this
has
one?
lost 9 consecutive Mortal Kombat.
Bad streak.
And if you lose a 10th, that means Shao Kahn can invade Earthrealm.
I'd rather hear about Zaslow's dreams.
Wait, you never went to the arcade, popped a couple quarters in, and hit a toasty?
I'm older than you, Mike. I was playing.
You were in like college, and that was a big
I was
deal.
playing Karate Champ. Point.
Galaga guy.
Half point. No, Galaga was when I was an adolescent.
Karate Champ was a good
You
game.
didn't do Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat around the summer of '94. What are you doing?
Well, and it was also I was playing a lot of NHL 94 is what I was playing around then.
Okay, but I mean, Mortal Kombat was a sensation of an arcade game in 1994. As I mentioned, the soundtrack was the first ever dance soundtrack to go platinum. They were playing that Mortal Kombat theme song on top 40 radio stations. It was a huge moment in time.
All right, listen, we're from different generations.
You a Sub-Zero or Scorpion guy?
Used to be Sub-Zero.
Same.
Now just plain Zero. Name the movie.
That's Last Action Hero?
Nah, that's the Running Man, the OG.
I don't think I ever saw Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I don't remember seeing
Good.
it.
Great movie.
Can I tell you, can you guess what the media score is for Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
I'm going to tell you it's well below 40% because we reviewed it on Cynaphobe, the
What's
podcast
Cynaphobe?
where Zach Harper and I watch movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes and try to ascertain whether they're accurately poorly rated or maybe they didn't get a fair shake. It's Cynaphobe. You get it wherever you get podcasts. It's produced by Anthony Mays. And today we got the movie that I am trying to stall to remember the name of. What was the movie? Oh, Navy SEALs, starring
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen
It's a great flick.
Michael Biehn, who we given the Lifetime Award Worst Actor Ever. Michael Biehn.
Really?
He's awful. Not in this movie. He's awful in this movie, but in terms of him being the worst actor ever, we literally named our Worst Actor Award after him.
Instead of watching Game 6 of the 1997 World Series, because even back then I was cocksure that the Marlins weren't going to win that game, I watched Navy SEALs.
That's a terrible
First of all, I know Michael Bihn's child. I know his son, his grown son, and I am going to pass along this opinion.
We literally call it the Michael Biehn Ass On Award because the opposite of acting your ass off is acting your ass on. That's how bad he is.
Navy SEALs is great.
He's terrible in it. He actually messes up drinking a beer. He doesn't know how to drink a beer correctly. It's unbelievable.
What does that mean? Like it go all over his chin? What does that mean?
That's exactly what it means. He tries to take a sip of beer and misses, which means he can't even act.
How
sipping
dare
a beer.
Or he's sitting in a 4DX seat.
I think you're wrong. I sincerely think Johnny Ringo is a great character.
It's Johnny Cage.
No.
Johnny Cage.
His legal name is John Carlton. We
John
found that out
Carlton.
listening back to the soundtrack this morning.
You don't like Johnny Ringo. You don't like Johnny Ringo.
I'm more of a Johnny Paul guy.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Rotten Tomatoes media score, 4%.
Do you know who was in that movie?
No.
All right. Well, I mean, you should. Check the name Motaro. Motaro, as you know, in Mortal Kombat lore, is that half man, half horse. That centaur?
Mm-hmm.
So it's played by an actor whose credentials are hilarious. All right, I'll just go ahead and say it. Malibu from American Gladiators. played
What?
Motaro.
The guy with the hair?
Yeah. He played Motaro.
By the way, that's Cynaphobe episode 79 if you're looking for it. Also, episode 79 and a half is Mike Ryan sitting down and going over the key plot points with us. So check it out. Cynaphobe, wherever you get podcasts.
Oh, James Remar is Lord Raiden, huh?
Yeah. Well, they recast
him, yeah.
From Mortal Kombat 1 in 1995, which was played by Christopher Lambert.
Lambert.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. That
Of
is
Highlander
Malibu.
fame.
Look at him.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I don't think so. He's got a weird voice, that Lambert guy. It kind of sounds like this, but not quite.
So last night, the NBA was on ESPN, which means you had Inside the NBA. And making his playoff debut, his postseason debut on Inside the NBA was Draymond Green. That's right, coming fresh off his controversy with Austin Rivers. They're going back and forth. They're throwing haymakers on each other's podcasts. And so Draymond Green, who everybody assumes is going to have a TV media career once his career is done. Obviously, look, full disclosure, I don't like Draymond Green. I don't like hearing from him. I disagree with most of the things he says, so I'm certainly coming from a biased place. But I watched Draymond Green on that show last night, and who knows how much longer Inside the NBA is going to be on the air. Like it feels like there's an end date, you know. So maybe it won't even be that show that Draymond Green eventually joins when he's done with his playing career. But I watched Draymond Green on a show like that, and it doesn't work for me. Like I find him I don't find him likable. And especially on a show like that, I want to feel like it's fun. I want to enjoy what I'm watching, and I don't think he gives off a likable presence. And the way that I would even justify my thought there is Charles Barkley. When Barkley was a player, he was nasty, not a nice guy. And the way he played was not nice. The way he treated people on the court was not nice. And a lot of times he was not terribly nice with the media as well. But when Charles Barkley got on that camera, man, right from the get-go, post-career, there was something about him. It's like, oh, you know what? This guy gives off good vibes. I like seeing him. I like hearing from him. And I don't feel that with Draymond Green. I watch him up there. I hear him talking. I'm like, I don't like this guy. I don't like him.
Yeah, he seems like he's doing a WWE character, and it is funny. We talked about that previously. Some of the most loathsome characters when they were in their primary career. John Madden was people now would be stunned to learn when he was the Raiders coach, he was, basically the head douchebag of like, we want to be villains and all of that kind of stuff.
He was a coach?
Alex Rodriguez was a loathsome Yankee, and everybody found him delightful when he turned into a broadcaster. It is weird how Charles Barkley, as far as that goes, the Draymond stuff was such garbage because just at its foundation, do you, Draymond, think that your career, I would rather have Draymond's career than Charles Barkley's because I would like to win titles, but do you actually think, Draymond, that your career compares with Charles Barkley's? Because it doesn't.
Well, so listen to this from last night. This is, I don't remember at what point in the show this was, but these guys bust balls. I mean, we know the way that is. They go at each other, especially Shaq and Charles. Shaq was not on the show last night. But here's Draymond Green when they were talking about the end of his career, end of Draymond's career coming, and like, what's the end game? What's it going to look like?
Nobody wins when they're 37, 38. But you said what you said. I want to hear if he believes what you're talking.
Yeah, I think the goal is just to not look like you in the Houston Rockets uniform.
Yeah.
Is ultimately the goal for us. Like, we don't want to.
What does that look like?
Did you see it?
I'm just asking.
I saw it.
Okay, I don't know what Draymond's referencing there, because in Charles's last year of his career, which he only played like 20 games, broke his leg, didn't get to go out the way that he wanted to. But in Charles's last year of his career in Houston, he averaged more points than any year of Draymond Green's career. He averaged more rebounds than any year of Draymond Green's career. Like, why would Draymond not want to go out looking like Charles did?
So, I understand I am going to be the Draymond apologist. Inside the NBA is a very jocular show, right?
Did that feel jocular?
I think he was trying to, and it fell flat. I think that's what he was trying to go for. And I think even Kenny was trying to like, all right, what's it? So he wanted him to kind of go on, and then Charles would come back on him, but he just kind of stopped there. It was like, he's not good at that part, obviously, not yet. He doesn't have the chemistry with those guys. But I think that's what he was going for. Because, everyone knows that Charles Barkley was a great player. I don't think there's anybody who's ever was, Charles was garbage or whatever. Charles obviously was a great player. Houston, towards the end.
I think there's probably people who are young who watch that show and have no idea Charles was what he was, because not only are they too young to have seen him play, but the way the other guys on the show talk about him for never having won.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. I think Draymond he's trying to have a laugh, have a go, right? In the same way that Dave keeps talking about Chris fantasizing about his sister-in-law.
Stop.
But I think it just fell flat, and that's what happens when you're on live TV and you're trying to do something with people you have no chemistry with.
No, that's what happens when you have not earned the right to bust chops because there's no track record of you being a funny person. The idea that I'm in a position because Charles Barkley is funny and Shaq is funny, and so now I'm going to keep up with the Joneses. Hey, Draymond, what indication is there that you're funny? You get histrionic and shout down your head coach in public. You punch teammates out. That's what we know about you. Your primary trait, as far as I can tell, and I've watched your whole career, is acting like a douchebag.
Well, Dave,
you're not a funny guy, so don't try to be funny.
This is what I've discovered in all my travels through all the land, is that rare is the person who is self-aware to say, I'm not funny. Most people think they're funny.
Well,
the vast majority of people think they are funny.
Boy, true, fella, because people will tell you all sorts of terrible things about themselves, and I'm not just talking about Chris Cody. People will tell you that they're like, I know I'm not the most handsome guy in the world. Like, that's a weird concession to make about oneself. Oh, man, you're much nicer than I am. Like, I'm not the brightest bulb, but I make up for it by working hard. People will tell you all those things. No one thinks they don't get the joke.
Mm-hmm.
So, now, some people will acknowledge, I maybe shouldn't be telling the jokes, but I get all the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
This is Draymond putting himself in a position to be the joke teller when, like I say, you're a shitster. You're not a funny jokester fella, so don't jump in against one of the best in the business and try to do that and get a response. And Chaz Barkley, to his credit, gave him exactly what he should have. Nothing. You don't rise to my level in basketball terms or comedically. Sit there and twist.
No, I know I'm nice, handsome, and smart, but I'm not funny.
Got to find a way to be likable if you're going to be on television. You have to.
I'm also likable.
I think what I would say is he's excellent at basketball analysis. He's really good at breaking down plays and telling you what's happening and telling you all the things. And that there are a lot of people, Zaz, you might say, are more likable, but there aren't many more people who are better than him at giving you actual analysis. When he was talking about how to guard Victor Wembanyama, he's telling you actual analysis. He's not just well, you just got to be physical with him. He's telling you about where you want him to catch, where you don't want him to catch, how much space you want to give him, all those things. He's really good at breaking down the game, and that's why he is going to have a job somewhere whenever his career is over.
Just to go back to it, not to overdo it, but we have replaced as a society in a lot of different places that you look with being funny with just being an asshole. And a lot of people are not delineating the two. Like, he's really no, you're just being a troll. You're not being funny. You know, you didn't get the best of me in that back and forth as we traded barbs. You just acted like an asshole.
Oh, look at this guy over here. Why don't you go suck one, huh? Dave Damashek.
He's so funny. Do you see how funny he is?
This Dave Damashek. What's the deal with his mustache, huh? Is it a savor flavor? Something like that, huh?
Hysterical.
Andrew Dice Clay?
Yeah, something like that. That's what I think of an asshole that people think is funny. Oh.
I saw Andrew Dice Clay at the Sunrise Musical Theater.
When?
Doesn't exist anymore.
Why?
Almost 30 years ago, I'd say. I saw Andrew Dice Clay. I was probably 16. Saw him with my father. All right. Both of us were so excited.
Bill Plaschke?
No. Both of us were so excited to see Andrew Dice Clay. It was not a good idea.
Oh, look at this soda drinker kid over here in the front row with his pops. Oh!
It was so vulgar. That and look, it's not like we're pretty liberal the things that we talk about and say in my home, but sitting right next to your father when I say every other joke was the C word, a little bit rough. A little bit rough next to your dad.
Now, I don't know because our commander-in-chief let us know if it's by C. It might be C-S-E-A.
See you next
Tuesday?
It's
C.
A U came after the C, and it's not a good word. And every other joke was that. It was a little bit rough.
Oh!
You get the cold sweat sitting next to your old man? Yeah. You think he was going to look over and you'd be like, what did you just take me
I mean,
to?
both of us realized this was not the best for us to be at together.
I have two things. First of all, I think I'd be interested in Amin's take on who would win in a one-on-one competition.
Leave the firefighter out of this.
Charles Barkley or the firefighter. No, Charles Barkley or Draymond Green. But also, Zaz, I think it's lovely. And look at how you and your old man did it, and now you and your boys go on these trips. But when you say Orlando, I'm always struck by this as someone not from Florida. Why do so many athletes settle in Orlando specifically? Why don't they come to Miami? Why don't it seems like there's some better destinations. To me, I'm an outsider. I haven't been to Disneyland since I was a little kid. So
Disney World over here, by the way. Keep your Disneyland over there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We do Disney World here.
Disney World.
This mustachio clown doesn't even know the difference in Disneyland and Disney World.
Well, what's the answer to that? Why did Tiger
It's
on
cheap.
down? Why do they all go to
Real
Orlando?
estate prices. Hey, what country do you live in? Oh.
But they're the richest people on the planet. So
Hey, that's how the rich stay rich. Oh.
Guy gets it.
Should I call you up?
Punt.
Okay, it's cheaper because there's not as much good stuff there, right? Isn't Miami better?
Yeah.
That's
Tiger
why you
did
live in
leave
Miami
Orlando.
instead of Orlando, because it's a better life experience.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I live down here.
Yeah, more celebrities live in Miami.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's a completely accurate thought
Yeah.
that you
A
have.
lot of athletes live in Orlando.
Even
though. He is
Tigers
right
in
there.
Jupiter.
More athletes live in Miami.
It's Tiger
Yeah.
Woods. It's Grant Hill.
Tiger
and, like,
lives in Jupiter.
Who are those people that all
I
live
think-
together in the same? And
Oh,
Shaq.
I think a lot. No. I think a weird
Like the
percentage
Lopez
of
brothers
athletes
live in Orlando.
Live in Orlando.
Just one of them.
It's more, I would imagine, athletes with families that actually like care about that end. Hey, we're near Disney World. We're near whatever else. There's accessibility
got,
to an
Disney.
international airport.
Now you're trying to help him out. You're
yeah,
being a
that
good
is good.
teammate.
Good teammate
But it's
by
not a
you.
thing anymore.
He's an Orlando guy, though.
That was a late 90s thing.
I do love
He
Orlando.
went to school in Orlando. I did too for a little bit. I transferred.
So did I. They kicked
To
me
Santa
out.
Fe?
Santa Fe?
No. I transferred from UCF, Dave, to the University of Florida.
After going to Santa Fe.
I get. Listen, I'm a hypocrite. I root for 2 college football teams. I think it's very weird that you're a graduate of Gainesville and you root for the Canes.
It's not weird. I've explained it 100
Because
times.
he
know
went
you
to a
have.
community college.
I did not do that either. You know what? I'm not doing this again right now, okay? If you want my
Saz, what's your deal with
explanation,
community colleges,
go back
by
in
the
the
way?
archives
I
and
went
go
to
listen to my
community
explanation.
Yeah, I went to 2 community colleges. What's wrong with that?
NBC
That's great.
Campus.
Valencia?
But I
Yeah,
was
and I'm-
able,
Yo, shout out.
awesome
I'm
for
a
you
proud
guys,
Cane.
but I was able to get into a full-blown university.
So did I. I got
I
into
mean,
one after.
we don't have to lie
I
about
did a
things.
They
program.
paid me to go to school.
All right, your choice. Mike, speaking of which, the World Cup is right around the corner.
That's right.
And 2 things I have noticed. Number 1, these games are not sold out, which is kind of crazy, especially when
There's
you-
definitely one that sold out.
Which?
Colombia, Portugal is like one of the hardest tickets in the history of
That's down here, right?
athletics.
It's
yes,
down here, yeah.
Yes, it is.
But overall, like games of the United States are playing in the United States, not sold out.
Home opener has 40,000 tickets sold at last check.
That's
That was
bad.
a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's real bad.
That's bad. These ticket prices are outrageous. And I saw the president of FIFA came out and made some type of analogy toward, in the United States, well, if you're going to go to a college football game or NFL game, these are the same prices. Like, this is what tickets cost here. I don't know that that's necessarily true.
What
all
is
right?
that? Can you tell what the price is?
For a lot of these games, the not Colombia, Portugal, but like the lesser games, even cheapest tickets like $800 just to get into the building.
That's the
Wait,
reason
you
why
mean
they-
on secondary markets or the face of the?
No, face.
Yeah, face value.
They're not sold out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
FIFA also
Oh,
kind of controls the secondary market too. Match made in heaven.
Yeah, these
FIFA
tickets
and the
haven't been
American-
sold.
and the American ticketing industry just they couldn't be more over the moon to have one another. in
And
this
what is the
moment.
face then?
Way too expensive?
Yeah,
I- yeah.
$800.
Yeah. So like FIFA, which is a curious decision for a not-for-profit organization, has decided that they are more than fine having a half-full stadium than a full stadium, provided that they don't betray their price point. They don't care about the concessions or fulfilling any of the promises that they made to host cities. And the number one promise that they made to host cities, lumped into this big promise that was going to be like 10 Super Bowls, right, was that your hotel and tourism industry will boom.
Economic boom.
And then Forbes came out this week with a study. They have described the World Cup, the hotel industry has described the World Cup as a, quote, non-event.
That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane. Like, compare and contrast what Qatar looked like 4 years ago in terms of just massive amounts of people coming in, hotels. They had to build hotels to accommodate all these throngs of people coming in. They built mass transit to accommodate all these throngs of fans going to the games. And then 4 years later, we're here, and this is supposed to be the greatest World Cup of them all. You know, when you listen to people talk about the 94 World Cup, they speak in such glowing terms because they said usually when you go play in the World Cup, the main stadium where the opening game and the closing game is, that one's a big, like, 80,000 seater. But a lot of the other ones are like 20, 30,000. And they said the United States was the first time they ever had a World Cup where every single stadium was an 80,000 seater, right? Because they're all NFL stadiums. And so it lent itself to this great accessibility to games for people from everywhere. Fast forward to this World Cup, and the infrastructure is there in terms of the stadiums, but because of multiple things. Number one, the ticket pricing. Number two, let's face it, anti-American sentiment because of the foreign policies and all that. People don't want to come here, and even the ones that do want to come here are facing massive, massive obstacles. We're talking about people being told you need a $15,000 down payment in order to get a visa just to come and watch the World Cup.
I'm surprised legitimately, and not to be, get up on Mount Pius about it or anything, but I asked Pablo Torre that, and I said, he's I don't know if you heard of him. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner. I asked him, so he's smart. Why are we not hearing at least threats from some of these nations that they were going to boycott? You heard a little of that maybe 3-4 months ago, and Pablo said, nah, FIFA would just immediately replace them, and all the other participating countries would just move on very quickly. It would not make the political dust up. It wouldn't get the attention that you think it would.
Some countries had a discourse about it. Germany considered it at the very least, but it's a World Cup. It's the biggest event on the planet. Your athletes probably there's so many participants that this is their only shot to compete at the World Cup. You just don't punt on a World Cup.
I get it, but except that the pushback on that is if people are not traveling to do it, that's an indication of where their interest level is.
They'll watch it at home and they'll root on their team. What's really unfortunate is the 94 World Cup, as Amin referenced, I think it's still to date the most profitable World Cup.
They sold more tickets than any other World Cup?
Yeah, the United States in particular are the three host nations because the United States is co-hosting along with Canada and Mexico. The United States is so well positioned to host this tournament in particular, and it's the biggest World Cup ever. And it was part of the reason why, 15 years ago when this thing started coming to fruition, you were super excited. You couldn't help but think, like, man, how much further along is our men's national team going to be 15, 20 years from now? Soccer is growing, and you can follow Southampton if you're in the United States, where before you could only follow Arsenal or Manchester United or Chelsea. There's so much access to this game now, and you thought 20 years down the line, man, we'll be able to just go right into the stratosphere with this. And now even soccer fans are down on this because of it. It cannot be ignored. The tourism industry is feeling the pinch of this because of global policies
and other things, right? Like I don't want to make it seem like the only thing, but it's definitely part of it.
The economy is tied into some of the policies.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. So the way I've been describing it is congratulations, America. We late stage capitalism the World Cup to death. Like, this is the most unstoppable.
Yeah, and FIFA's a willing participant in this.
Of course. Johnny Infantino is like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Here, a peace prize. Whatever it takes, right? The idea that, and we can't stress that enough. I think we have a very cosmopolitan audience, the show, but still, like, a lot of them are just dumb old Americans. You guys don't understand. This is like 10 Super Bowls, right? The idea of this sporting event, it's bigger than the Olympics. It's bigger than the Super Bowl. It's bigger than anything ever in the history of mankind. You said, why don't they boycott? You know how many times people have boycotted a World Cup? Never in the history of the World Cup. They suspended the World Cup because of a world war.
Iran's not.
Iran's like, hey, we're still on our way.
Yeah, Iran's playing in it by all accounts. And the only two markets, host cities, that are reporting that, the hotel business is good are Miami, because they have
El Palacio sold out.
I'm sure. Miami is a great host city, and it's having a lot of big marquee games down here, and it's a gateway to the Americas. Atlanta is also close. So Atlanta and Miami are the only cities that are reporting a big boom from the World Cup. You would think places like Kansas City. First thing that I'm going to one World Cup match as of right now.
Where?
I might go to a second in Guadalajara. But the first one I'm going to is in MetLife Stadium.
You're going to Guadalajara?
We've been before.
Yeah.
Great place.
I like
Love
Guadalajara. I could watch Colombia in Guadalajara, and that'll be cheaper than watching him here. Certainly.
There are also games in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be an especially embarrassing thing when Mexico and Canada fill those stadiums, or are they struggling?
Not only those stadiums, But again, this is the important part. The hotels, the restaurants,
right.
the bars, the nightclubs.
So
That's what
naturally,
it's about.
I was excited to be a host nation. I knew Miami would be a host city, but I'm like, man, those tickets are probably going to be insane. I'd probably save more money, and a lot of my friends have done this, traveling to another city. So you would think a city like Kansas City would really benefit from having the World Cup there, and because who would go to Kansas City to watch a World Cup game? Kansas City reporting dead last when it comes to hotel boom.
Nothing personal with David Samson. David Samson joining us now. Good to see you, David. How are you today, pal?
I am doing well. I'm getting a little tired of the late NBA games because it's the end of the week, but I'm glad they're at least consecutive now, so I don't have to do a dual screen and end up watching none of them.
Oh,
So
you see,
I'm glad that now I can watch them in a row.
That's interesting that you say that because the night before the games overlapped, you know, they were going on at the same time. And I like when the games are going on at this. I have free will. I could choose what game I want to watch. I don't need them telling me you have to only watch this one and then only watch this one. I like when the games are going on at the same time, David.
Yeah, I don't want the conflict. As I just don't. I want to sit and watch a game. I'm going to watch it develop in order to. It's like watching the Red Zone channel. You end up seeing nothing, but you do it for fantasy or for gambling or whatever you do it. But to me, it makes me dizzy, and I don't get to watch a game. Amin knows this. There's a rhythm to an NBA game. Yes, it's a game of runs, of course, but you get to understand how a game is sort of unraveling like its own unwritten play. And if you're going back and forth and you're just looking at the score bug, hey, that one's close, let me turn to that. For that, I could watch the first round of the NCAA men's tournament, for crying out loud.
Now, I wonder, because you've told us you grew up with the New York Knicks being your number one, that's a team of your childhood. Do you still feel any of that when you watched last night? I mean, they're 2 wins away from the Eastern Conference Finals for back-to-back years.
Yeah, I'm a full chorus line guy. Like, I feel nothing. And it is incredibly upsetting because you're right. Watching the Knicks from 1974, missed a championship by a year, through 1999 when I got into baseball. I got to the finals twice in 94, 99. Unbelievable series against the Bulls and the Pacers and the Heat. Who can forget the 8-1 May of 1999 game with Allen Houston? Sorry, gentlemen. But now I'm not connected in that way to the team. And but I still want them to win a championship because I'd like to be around it, but I'm certainly not a fan like I used to be. But here's the other thing, folks. The Knicks are not going to win a championship. If you're watching the Western Conference playoffs, it doesn't matter who comes out of the East. The NBA champion's going to come from the West, and I'd be willing to guarantee that.
Do you agree that if Jalen Brunson were to go against what you just said and win the title, be the best player on a Knickerbockers team that wins the title, that he becomes the greatest Knick of all time? And if he's not the right answer, who is?
You have to go Clyde Frazier. I don't think that Brunson winning a title, it certainly puts him in the conversation, but he's in the conversation already. But I think you got to go back with the Red Holzman-led 70 and 73 Knicks. You have to look at Clyde. You have to put Patrick Ewing in there.
I was just
going to
say, Amin, I bet, would argue for Ewing.
Oh, of course. But if Brunson wins a title that Ewing couldn't. But again, the superstar we got for Ewing was John Starks. I love you, John. 2 for 18 is seared into my head like, a tattoo on my forehead. But I will say that when I look at the Knicks, they're an interesting team. But Brunson, he's a one-way player. He absolutely cannot play defense. He's going to get exposed, though I don't feel like the Sixers are properly exposing him the way the Hawks did in the first round. It didn't work because they got blown out every game after Game 3. But I would say that I just don't think the Knicks as constituted can win a title, but we're going to find out.
I would like to echo the words of my fellow Pulitzer Prize winning journalist David Samson, and I would say that Walt Clyde Frazier is greatly recognized as the greatest Knick of all time, not only because of his 2 NBA rings, but also, as he alluded to, was a tremendous defensive player, one of the best defensive guards in NBA history.
Why are you talking like that?
Well, I'm a Pulitzer Prize winner, and I'm speaking with another Pulitzer Prize. You wouldn't understand. It's kind of
so wise.
You got a thing. So, but beyond that, I would also say his continued presence with the organization cements him as Mr. Knick. Whereas Patrick Ewing, as great as he was, minus the non-championship, also was gone for a long time and had just recently been welcomed into the fold.
Yeah, he's back at every game, and I must tell you guys, I've never felt older than looking at the alums who are at the game and seeing Patrick with Starks and Larry Johnson, and you see Sprewell come, and you just look and you say, wow. Like that 94 finals against the Rockets, that is 32 years ago. It's almost impossible to believe there are people well into their careers who were not alive to watch Olajuwon against Ewing, and now they're just watching three-pointers get chucked all day.
Well, that was the ultimate split-screen experience where you were watching that finals. You were watching OJ v. the Coppers.
Bronco.
That's right. Bob Costas cutting in on the broadcast.
So a story, I was at that game, and the way the Garden was before it was retrofitted, I was online on the concession line, and there's TVs above the menu boards, and they show the game so you don't miss anything. And and it's the broadcast, I'm online, and all of a sudden they cut to a white Bronco on a highway, and people online at the Garden lost their minds. Get the game back on. And what happened is we all ran and said, forget it, we'll skip the food. And we went back into the bowl because it's not like where you can wait online and see and access the court. At the Garden, you're in a hallway where you have no access to the bowl. So people at that game were furious. Forget the fact that if you're watching it on TV and it disappears,
David,
it's insane. It's unheard of.
I cannot repeat the words I said when I was watching on TV and they cut to OJ in the Bronco. At first, I thought it was just going to be like, okay, we're going to get back to the game. And then they didn't. And then I said something to the effect of, make a decision already.
It's Tony, Taché, and Cody. Do you guys know about that? It was such a weird cultural moment.
You know OJ, what happened with OJ?
They cut into an NBA Finals game, and they put it in the lower little box. It was like
no,
off
they
on
didn't.
the little corner.
They just switched.
They switched.
Is that definitely
I don't think they switched for the whole time, but they definitely switched.
They cut for a good amount of that game. It was Game 5, wasn't it, David?
What was frustrating was like you could find it on other channels. You know, the other networks were covering the OJ chase, but the network that had the NBA Finals decided, no, we'll join in the fray.
I was like,
listen,
2.5
the
years
audience
old
for that. Mike, I will just tell you, if you're the producer making that decision in the control room, the audience for the OJ chase at the time was way bigger than the NBA Finals audience because that was, remember, he was a suspect in those murders. No one knew what the hell was going on, and all of a sudden, this is OJ Simpson. People don't remember unless you lived through it. This was a movie star. This was a Hall of Fame football player.
Beloved broadcaster.
This was Bob Costas talking about an NBC Sports colleague.
Exactly. It's the most bizarre thing. It really is the most bizarre cut-in I've had obviously short of 9/11, but that's not bizarre. That was tragedy. What you're looking at with the Bronco chase was, is this happening? And by the way, how does this end? Because at the time, what we were told was he's going to kill himself. And we were thinking, OJ Simpson?
Make a
this
decision.
Can't be happening. And obviously, the rest certainly speaks for itself.
What level of sports celebrity could get a cut into the NBA Finals now if they were in a Bronco?
Who's playing
with alleged murder?
Well, keep in mind, too, like David
Thunder
Samson
Knicks?
just said, this wasn't a guy at the height of his stardom. He wasn't playing sport. He was, but so that's 94. So he had retired.
He was
15 years.
he was at the height of his
He was
movie
huge.
stardom.
I get it from Naked Gun. I'm talking, but Tashay's question was,
Well, people
as an
from the
athlete-
sports world,
right? I'm saying, but he had retired 15 years prior as a football player.
But he was also like this didn't happen right away. He was also in headlines and entertainment magazines for several days because people suspected he had something to do with this. And then the chase kind of served to a nation like confirmation. This is a guilty conscience.
I can't believe it was 30
But
years
like
ago.
A-Rod has endured as a celebrity beyond being a baseball player. They wouldn't break into no Stanley Cup final to be like A-Rod's getting chased by the coppers here.
I think they would.
Do you really?
I think
Yeah,
A-Rod's a good
so
one.
yeah, the way it would work now is what happened when Mike Breen had to keep telling us that Trump is going to address the nation and we're going to cut away from this game, but just go to blank streaming service and the game will continue. Go to ESPN in that case, or go to Peacock. So remember back then, it was either you're watching on NBC or you're not watching at all.
Yeah.
Now you'd get a choice. You want to watch the Bronco? Watch the Bronco. If you do, great. If not, you have 10 other channels where you can watch the game on 4 other devices. So I don't believe we'll ever have a cultural moment like we had in June of 94 ever again.
The Rock. Oh, man.
The Rock would never do something like that.
Now do it,
People
OJ.
thought about OJ, yeah. What about Derek Jeter?
I think so. We're naming people. If Mike and David are right that they would cut in for A-Rod, I think you now have to adjust this conversation to how low down do you go before with Jay Cutler?
This is my problem.
Would they
No way.
break in to see what's up with Jay Cutler?
Absolutely
This
not.
is my problem with A-Rod. We know who A-Rod is. But do people outside of sports know who A-Rod is?
Yeah, 'cause
people
he-
outside of sports knew OJ. OJ was famous, not sports famous.
No, A-Rod dated Zaslow's lover.
Right.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah, I don't think they'd cut in for A-Rod personally. I think it has to be someone who transcends sports. And so I don't put A-Rod or Cutler or any of those people in that category.
Brady.
The Rock transcends. Brady, of course, transcends. Anyone who Ichiro's heard of obviously transcends. But so, yes, I would say that is the A-list. To get a cut-in, a prime-time cut-in of any sort, even through previously recorded programming, but certainly into live sports, that requires A-list. Jennifer Lopez, we're cutting in.
Giancarlo Stanton?
No cut-in.
The answer is Travis Kelce.
There you
Cut
go.
in now
Definitely.
because
That's-
of Taylor Swift.
Yep.
Right.
That's absolutely. We got to cut in for Travis. Does his brother? Do we got to cut in for the brother?
His brother's the driver?
No.
Oh, his brother is the
No.
driver. And they record a podcast while they do it.
Whoa, new heights.
David, a huge congratulations to you. Of course, we mentioned the entire crew at Pablo Torre Finds Out winning the Pulitzer Prize, as it was announced a couple days ago. How did you learn, and how did it make you feel?
I got an emotional call from Pablo, and he called to say that we had won a Pulitzer, and I couldn't believe it. Obviously, it's such an honor to be a part of Meadowlark Media and what Dan had done, putting faith in a show that just hadn't been done before and putting resources behind it. It's much like what he does with your show and my show and all of the network shows. But I'll tell you, what I thought of immediately, and I said this to Amin immediately when we were talking, is that my daughter actually got sick on September 12th. And the last show she ever listened to me do was September 3rd, which was the first show that won the Pulitzer on the Aspiration Kawhi Leonard salary cap circumvention. And she's in media and was very interested in the story. And I knew we were onto something because she wasn't ever interested in nothing personal, did not listen didn't care about MLB and analyst work or didn't watch our show here, the Dan Le Batard Show. But this one she paid attention to because we had been talking about it for months. And then once it was recorded, Amin will remember it was recorded, not to go under the kimono, but on August 20th. And so there was a 2-week period where we had recorded the show that it hadn't come out yet. And this was the first show as part of the Athletic licensing agreement. And it just was a big deal. Except we didn't realize, it didn't even occur to us. Pulitzer, don't be ridiculous. That can't be. But when I was called, I just couldn't believe that those two things now are together in terms of her last show seeing me and winning a Pulitzer and what it means for the company and for all of us. It was really a proud, emotional moment. And thank you to Dan and to all of you guys who have let me into your crazy playpen.
It's awesome. It's a great honor. Congrats again, David. So we were just talking yes, the whole crew. All right. We congratulated you the other day. Now I'm congratulating David. All right. That's all.
I'm here.
All right. Yeah. But I don't need to congratulate you every day.
So Zaz, I did some reading on this. I did. And the truth is, you do have to congratulate him every time you see him.
All right.
So it turns out it's like when you win an Academy Award, you're always known as Academy Award winner. Whenever you're introduced, whenever you walk into a room, hey, it's John Cocktoast, an Academy Award winner. Amin Al-Hassan now, Pulitzer Prize winning podcaster, that's just part of his nom de plume. So anytime he walks in the studio, you have to say that.
Wow.
Thank you, David, but that's the kind of grace that I would expect from a fellow Pulitzer Prize winner. You know, some of the lesser accomplished people, they don't know these etiquettes. Yeah.
David, you may have heard we were talking about the World Cup and the lack of ticket sales, all of these games. There's a lot of tickets available for most of these World Cup games that are starting up soon. And it had me think of something that you told us last week where we asked you which would a baseball team rather have? Which would the owner rather have? Would you rather one person at a game and the price of the ticket was $100, or would you rather 100 people at the game and the price was $1? And your answer, despite more people means more concessions, your answer was you'd rather have the one person paying $100. So I wonder, does any of that line of thinking apply to what's going on here with the World Cup, where the tickets are so expensive?
Well, keep in mind, as part of the RFP process, a request for proposal, when you're a bid city, part of your bid package includes what the ticket prices are going to be, like when you bid for an all-star game or when you are doing a postseason manual in Major League Baseball where you are giving baseball what the prices will be for every seat in your stadium for every round of the playoffs from wild card through World Series. And then those prices get agreed to, and there's no changing them. But there's something deeper going on here. The reason why you're seeing a lag in ticket sales is not because of the price. It's that when you make the assumption, much like the Las Vegas A's are assuming they will get 7,000 tourists to every game, which is obvious total horse hockey, what World Cup did is they assumed a level of foreign tourism that has ended up not happening. And that manifests itself with hotel occupancy rates going up, meaning no one's staying in hotels, and with ticket sales going down. Why? People are not looking forward to coming to the U.S. because they're worried. They're worried about what's going on with immigration. They're worried about what will happen in terms of security. It is not the perfect storm that was hoped to have existed when North America was granted the World Cup. And I think that they're going to have to sit in it because I don't know what's going to change between now and July. But obviously, you can lower ticket prices, but that will not change people's view about coming to the U.S.
We're a month away. It takes time to travel from abroad to the United States, get those plans in line, make sure you're all clear. It's not really at the drop of a hat type of thing where you can come to the United States if you're from one of these other countries. You mentioned the A's, David, and tell me what's right here. There's internet conjecture that suggests one of the great brands in baseball. I love their uniform sets. One of the great names in baseball, the Athletics. Las Vegas may turn its back on this branding, and I don't know what to believe here. Internet has found LLCs with different team names. The rumor that's spreading online is a lot like what happened with the Utah Mammoth, where initially they were the Utah Yeti, but they couldn't trademark the name Yeti, so they went in another direction. What's true here? Can they trademark this name?
So they've not been able to yet. They've not been able to prove to the court that the Athletics are a name that can be trademarked within the Las Vegas area because it's not specific enough, because they're not doing business there. And one of the criteria for getting the use of a name is, are you doing something in the area with that name that would take away any customer confusion about what your business is? The Las Vegas Athletics, if you ask a random person on the street, is that a gym? Is that a hotel? Is that a casino? What is that? There are people who don't know that there is a baseball stadium being built and that will be a baseball team. So A, they didn't get it pre-cleared. So B, they've got to be prepared for all sorts of eventualities. Is it still possible? Remember, the ruling from the court was today we're not granting it. They didn't talk about tomorrow. They talked about today. And as the stadium gets built and as they get a stronger foothold in Las Vegas, do more business there. And I don't mean, endorsing Little League games and selling tickets. I mean doing business. They could get that name trademarked. Will it be too late? I guess we're going to wait to see. But it's something that's never talked about in sports business, but it's a huge part of it. By the way, Mike, there's an entire department at MLB that does trademark clearance stuff.
Wouldn't that stand as a major failure and an embarrassing one for Manfred and company? This is an enduring brand, Athletics. It didn't start in Oakland. It was in Kansas City and otherwise. That doesn't sound like much of a case. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I'm not an attorney. It seems like this would be a pretty straightforward case, right? Well, we didn't just create this name. It's been around for 100+ years.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear when you look at relocated teams. When you look, the Brooklyn Dodgers became the Los Angeles Dodgers. The New Orleans Jazz became the Utah Jazz. For crying out loud, the Vancouver Grizzlies or the Memphis Grizzlies. There has been cases where teams move and keep their name, and there have been cases where teams move and change their name. The Washington Nationals are not the Montreal Expos. And so you have to really be on top of the legal part of this. And did MLB anticipate this ruling by the panel? My guess is they did not. But once it came down, they were able to pivot, both in terms of how to establish that you're doing business in Vegas, but also making sure that you're covered by coming up with some other names. And that's what happened in Utah as well, Mike.
David, the Philadelphia 76ers, of course, went down 2-0 to New York last night. The next game, Game 3, is in Philadelphia. Joel Embiid, at the end of last series against Boston, pleaded with Sixer fans not to sell their tickets to Knicks fans, that they need to make sure they have the great home court advantage. He said if they need the money, that he'll take care of them. I don't know what that means. But the Sixers, they have done the move where they restrict being able to buy the tickets to a certain area code. What is, to keep the New York fans away from being able to even buy the tickets. David, what do you make of that practice?
Well, tomorrow night you're going to find out that practice does not work. And in Miami, you guys know this, we were the inventors, all of us in Miami, of trying to keep out foreign people because we wanted any semblance of a home court advantage.
My man.
Because if you close... I'm sorry?
My man. Keeping out foreign people. Love it.
I'm talking about non-Miamians, obviously. So people who don't like the Dolphins or the Marlins. But
I'm talking about
if you
Peruvians.
close your eyes and go to a Dolphins-Jets game, you know what the story is. You know that you don't know where the game's being played. So what you do is you restrict zip codes on the ticketing sites to only local zip codes. And what we also know is it doesn't work. Joel Embiid got very bad advice. Luckily, it's not a legal contract. He doesn't have to pay anyone opportunity cost for what they could have sold it versus what they do sell their tickets for. That was a funny, nice gesture. But tomorrow night, there will be a lot of Knicks fans.
How about there are some venues, like the Clippers do this, I believe. The Clippers in their new, in the Intuit Dome, the wall, behind one of the baskets. I think you're only allowed to cheer for the Clippers. You're like not allowed to cheer for the visiting team. Do I have that right? I mean,
that is correct, Jonathan.
I'd like to ask Mike this in terms of football. The supporters sections, can you sit in a supporters section if you're rooting for the other soccer team?
I know you can. It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Because the other
to do
fans
so.
will get angry at you?
Yeah, dude, it's a dangerous thing. I've walked into
It should
opposing
be.
stadiums. Like the first time I watched a game in England, I went to see Chelsea play at Watford, and I was wearing a little blue, and security told me to cover that up.
Wow.
It's still football America. Let's refer to it as soccer when we're within these United States. I'm sorry to be an ugly American, but I do feel like I should point that out.
I don't know if you remember, there was a time down here with the Panthers when that snake oil salesman, Michael Yormark, was the CEO, where they made one of the goals, behind one of the goals, there was a section there, only Panther fans. You're not allowed to wear gear of another team. You're not allowed to cheer for the other team. That obviously did not work.
That's sad for those teams that can't control their fan base or not don't have a passionate enough fan base to keep out visitors.
I mean, in England in particular, they have this ugly history of hooliganism, and I went to a rather famous Manchester City-Liverpool match that ended up deciding the championship that year, and I was in like a posh part of the stadium. I was in the hospitality lounge, and there was a gentleman who was not wearing Liverpool red, and he was just sitting in a section adjacent to
So you turned his lights out.
the hospitality. No, I was there. I'm a Chelsea guy, so I was just there to appreciate the soccer, and this guy like did one of these, like a little fist pump, after something good happened in the match for Liverpool. Damn near got his ass kicked. Like, it was rough. Everybody was yelling at him just because he gave like a little subtle like fist bump as something happened. So while I think it's a little overblown, I've seen it happen.
Just so you know, guys, this is not unique to England. It just happened the other day that someone outside of Busch Stadium in St. Louis got attacked.
Yeah.
We've seen what happens in Los Angeles.
Yeah, saw a
The
Yankee
very
fan get
famous-
attacked recently. That went viral.
It's not cool.
After game one of Knicks Sixers, there's a guy walking around with like an Embiid jersey, and
That
he got
sucked.
he got mobbed.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I'm gonna tell you, like real
not.
talk. When I worked for the Knicks, at the same time, there's this guy. He played professionally in Greece, and I remember the first game we went to, like when we first started that week. He was floored that he saw people with like Bulls jerseys on because the Bulls were in town. He was floored. He's like, "Well, what's gonna happen?" I'm like, "What? Nothing." He's like, "What do you mean nothing's gonna happen?" Because in his, experience,
There'd be murder.
Yeah, if you went to Panathinaikos with like an Olympiacos
Oh my
jersey,
God.
you want it's a death wish.
Violence.
It's
Absolutely. It is. And look, there have been a couple high-profile incidents here in the United States. I think even like famously, there was an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm that was brought into court as an alibi. But largely, you can go into an opposing stadium. We did it at MSG for the Panthers. New York Rangers are in the Eastern Conference Finals. You can rep your team, and you'll have some banter, but it won't. Most of the time, a vast majority of the time, it won't accelerate to like this physical confrontation.
I remember I went to the Miami game.
Yeah, you were repping Georgia Tech.
And I was wearing Georgia Tech.
People
and
were
talking.
giving you guff.
But most of the people around me were good natured. There was one guy who got drunk and like tried to start something, but everyone else kind of like said, chill.
Yeah. Not something that can happen abroad.
I would say you have to be smart, though, because I wore a Knicks jersey to Game 7 in Houston in 1994, and I will never forget when we lost the game. I took the jersey off to walk out of the stadium as the Rockets were celebrating their championship because I didn't want any problems. Obviously, I wasn't big at the time. And then again in San Antonio in 99, lost a game, took the jersey off because why invite it? I don't appreciate that it has to be that way, but it's sort of understanding your surroundings. If you know that there could be an issue, my view of it is that it's your responsibility to not put yourself in a position to have an issue. And I'm not victim blaming. Don't make that. I'm saying situational awareness in life is generally a good thing.
Samson, you went to how many finals games? How are you getting these tickets?
I was very lucky. I went to every game in 1994, all 7 games of the finals, and I went to all the games in 99 in San Antonio and in New York. I just was a lucky season ticket holder who was able to secure tickets on the road as well, and I was with the Knicks and Spike Lee in Houston. They took all of us, the families, to a rodeo in Houston. I'd never been to a rodeo before when you're there for the games 1 and 2. So it was fun to be a part of it, and this was before I was in baseball. I was just a huge fan And that was when I had my first dose of, wow, don't meet your hero, because I got a chance to have Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley in a hotel hallway. It was just me and my friend, and I saw them, and I just wanted to say hello and say good luck tonight. It was Game 7. They were just sitting in the hallway talking, and they were both very grumpy. And I said to my friend, oh, God, we're not going to win, are we? Of course, it didn't occur to me that Starks would go 2 for 18, but all I wanted was like a, yeah, thanks for coming to Houston. Let's go, New York, go. And all I got was like, up yours.
I think that's a great life lesson from David Samson. I said it earlier in the show. You got to live in the world that as it exists, not the one you want. And if your team loses, there's a weird psychological or sociological thing that happens. The fans don't attack visiting fans wearing jerseys and otherwise unless their team wins. It's like a gut punch. If the visitors gut punch your heroes down on the field, the people in the stands are also feeling that emotionally, and they just sort of walk out of the stadium. When they win, now they're imbued with reflected powers, and they attack it. Good for you to take that jersey off. I said at the game the Steelers beat the Ravens, the odd 8 title game, there was a loudmouth right in front of us with a Ray Lewis jersey on the whole game, and he was talking stuff when it looked like the Ravens were going to win. As soon as Troy Polamalu pick-sixed him, I got in his ear, and I was like, I would turn that stuff down, man. I would take the jersey off because...
You were being sincere.
I was like, I would not continue cheering and talking crap now because the tide has turned, and you are going to get a whipping if you don't take that jersey off. He listened.
Look at that. Like a real humanitarian.
Great empath. How many times do I have to tell you?
Hold on. The guy took off his jersey?
He had to.
Yeah.
No. You got to keep that on.
I like the idea of Dave Damashek being like the quiet, menacing guy. Like, I'd take that off if I were you, buddy.
Hey, Yins. All these Yinzers around here is not going to like you wearing that Ray Lewis jersey. I would take it off, dude. That's my advice to you.
David, how do you think that management in Boston hears what Jaylen Brown has been saying the last couple days, specifically when he talks about this year being his favorite year? Because I would imagine management, this was not their favorite year.
I'd have to believe that they know their player. And so when we'd have players out in public doing certain things, very rarely were we surprised because you live with the player every single day. Do I think that Brad Stevens woke up and said, wait a minute, Jaylen Brown's doing a Twitch live stream? I highly doubt that was his first experience with Jaylen Brown doing that. When Jaylen Brown starts going after the referees, if I'm the president of the team, I'm calling him up and saying, dude, get your checkbook out. You're about to get fined. And he ended up getting fined $50K. I get it. It's just emotional for him. He was doing it without Tatum for most of the year. Tatum comes back. They continue to do well. And then they just, live and die by the way they were built and what they did. But for me, I look back at the year of the Celtics and say, what a success for their front office. It's a team that could have easily decided to give in with the way they cut payroll and had the Jason Tatum injury. But instead, look at how competitive they were throughout the season and up through 7 games against Philly. So I sort of take it with a grain of salt. I'm certainly not going to make transactional decisions based on a Twitch stream one day after a Game 7 loss by any stretch, but I am going to look enough, so we have to make changes.
Hey, David, real quick, back to something you were talking about 20 minutes ago. Mike was talking about the Athletics in Vegas and all of that. If this all winds up with it being a bust once they do open that ballpark, I'm surprised to hear you say that they're not going to get foot traffic of the tourists. I don't think that would work in a destination city like Miami or Los Angeles, but that's because they're more sprawling. Everything in Vegas is right there. They're not going to just standardly get a bunch of people from around America and beyond walking into that yard.
Yeah, so baseball's different. You can build the stadium and have the Raiders play 7 games, 8, 9 games there, and people will come to Vegas when their team is playing on the road, and they'll say, all right, it's a weekend, let's go. But when you're talking about a Tuesday game against Colorado in July, you're not going to go to Vegas for that game. And also, there's 10 times more home games. It was unrealistic the minute it was presented to the public, the minute it was presented to Major League Baseball. But the reason why baseball turned their head to the fact that Oakland won't work in Vegas is that A, they were so upset for being last into Vegas, and B, They had to take care of the Oakland situation so they could get to the real money, which is in expansion. So they got to take care of Oakland and Tampa in order to get to 32 teams, which is when the owners will cash the expansion check. And so you turn your head to an assumption that ends up being wrong. By the way, guys, it happened in Miami. We had an assumption that our attendance would be way higher than it was, and it's been because we assumed that it was a roof that would make the difference, and it ended up not being the case, whether I'm there or not there. But at the time the stadium was being built, baseball wanted to get rid of Miami as a problem, get a new ballpark, move on to the next problem. And that's really how sports leagues look at these situations.
David, what have you watched recently? You have a review for us?
I do. I've been watching the Untold series, and I want to talk about the death and life of Lamar Odom.
Wow.
It's 76 minutes. It was an hour and 16 minutes about Lamar Odom. I had totally forgotten about what happened. I had remembered that he was in some sort of brothel and that he almost died. I had forgotten totally if I ever knew that he had a reality show with one of the Kardashians who was his wife. I didn't know all the craziness that happened after he was unconscious in the brothel from a binge. I didn't know where he was today or what he was doing. I didn't know he had other kids. I didn't know anything about his situation. And I found it to be compelling in its unbelievable sadness as someone who spent decades around athletes who are deified by so many. And it turns out a majority of them are just struggling like the rest of us and trying to figure it out because money doesn't buy the end to your problems. And so Lamar Odom had addiction problems, and money didn't change that. He had fame, money, and it still didn't change the addiction issues. And he's, what a story for him. He's still alive, and he sounds great. He looks great. But his life, what could have been with him, and you guys know him from The Heat, it's just totally different than the script he thought. And this Untold, much better than the Jailblazers, this Untold is worth your time.
David, it's funny because years ago I did a podcast with Pulitzer Prize winner Pablo Torre, and he had just written a feature about James Harden, who's with the Rockets, and at that time his girlfriend was Khloe Kardashian. And so we're talking about the effects of kind of celebrity and addiction and all these things. And it was to this day probably the best podcast episode I've ever done up until the one where I won a Pulitzer Prize. And
the Haunted Hotel one was great too.
The Haunted Hotel one was great. Then the ESPN pulled the episode off the site 15 minutes after it was on. And we were like, why? They said, well, because you said, no, we didn't make light of it. We were trying to illustrate how pervasive it is, not only with players, but with staffers, with the media. Everyone around sports pretty much has a substance abuse problem by the definition of, the medical definition. Well, guess what happened an hour after they pulled that episode down? What? Lamar Odom hospitalized on his deathbed. Wow. Had they kept it up, we would have had probably a crazy, relevant, greatly done episode with two future Pulitzer Prize winners, but ESPN, in their eminent wisdom, of
he
course, dropped the
almost
ball.
died, but Amin is the victim.
That's right.
David, always good to see you. Nothing personal with David Samson, weekdays, wherever you get your podcasts, of course, and on DraftKings Network. Great job, David. Thank you. There you go. All right.
Children and millions of dollars left behind. Yeah, but how about all the downloads I could have had?
I could have been a star, I say. Oh, but also, I love this week. It's Thursday. We're not done with the week, but this week, one of my favorite things that's been happening is that we do an interview. We get done with the interview. Zaz sends the subject on. All right, thanks a lot. That was David Samson. And then we saw time on the clock, and he just has this.
It's all right.
It's like, I've got nothing.
All right.
Great job.
Half a minute to chill.
I'd rather not go on.
Maybe tease our next segment.
Someone else.
This is the end of the live hour, right?
Anybody else?
Somebody said something about firefighters.
I'm kind of hungry.
Very good.
I'm a cuck.
Have you heard from your sister-in-law?
Nope.
Has word gotten to her?
Her husband may have told her yesterday.
Is he pillow talker?